Hello and welcome, my name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to our final card, the Funky Fold. But I'd just like to put out a little teaser there. This is being recorded in front of a live audience. Well, actually, I'm sharing my office today with my son and he's over to the right of me doing his work. And so I am trying to record a video with all my fingers crossed while he's not here. So while he's here, should I say. So if you can hear tapping, it's not me, it's my son working on his project, on his masters. Anyway, so back to the card. Today is Funky Fold Friday, and this is our card we are going to create. So it's a normal book fold card, but then when you open it, you've got this lovely pop-out image of flowers, which we're going to create ourselves. And this little gadget that creates this is included in the dies. So let's put this aside and bring the stamp sets in. So for those of you who may not have seen the videos this week, we are put my teeth back in. We are focusing on Pop-Up Petals. It's a 16 image stamp set with 1, 2, 3, 4 sentiments, and the rest are all images, plus it comes in the bundle with 11 dies. These two little gadgets here are the two gadgets, or different size gadgets, you can use to create the pop-up, the flower. Right, so let's bring in the supplies. So, first and foremost, the colours we're using are Early Espressos, Calypso Coral, and Mossy Meadow. So there are 3 colour inks today. I have got, right, let's see, put that aside, that's a die. So let's do papers first, shall we? Always good to do papers first and then come in with the designer series paper afterwards. Right, so let's see what we've got. So the first thing we've got is a piece of Mossy Meadow. This measures 4 inches by 11, which we will score together in a moment. I have a piece of Calypso Coral. This measures 3 3/4 by 8 3/4, and again we will score that. Then I have a coloured piece, again Calypso Coral. This measures 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. I have a sentiment strip, which is this one, which measures 2 by 2 3/4, and then I have a backing card for it, which is 2 1/4 by 3 inches. And then our final piece, which is a layer piece for you to write your sentiment on, measures 2 1/4 by 3 inches. Now I know that is a lot of measurements, so don't worry, all the measurements will appear as usual on my blog. So that's all the papers. Let's bring in the DSP. So the first thing we've got is one piece which is 3/4 of an inch by 3 3/4. I've then got a piece that measures 4 inches by 3 1/2. I then have 2 pieces which measure, let's put them the right way around. I've cut them so that they so that they match up when they go on the page, but for some reason, I'll sort it out in a moment. So anyway, these 2 pieces measure 2 3/4 by 3 1/2, and there's 2 of those. And then I have this bit of scrap which is for my die. So you've got this little die here, which I will show you what that's for in a second. That's going to go through there. I have, oh hello, I have a die for the 2 stamped out images, which I've stamped in Mossy Meadow. These are the sunflowers, which I've got 2 of those. And I've also got the die which creates the little pop out in the card. So let's pop these away and we can begin. So the first thing we're going to start with, as usual, is our sentiments and our stamping. So we don't need anything on that one, but we do on that. So I'm going to stamp that one out in Early Espresso. So let's just stamp that up. I am using a stamp that I believe is no longer in function. It's called Birthday Celebrations. If it is, I will add it to the supply list for later on. However, I would suggest that you use whatever sentiment you have available to you. There we go. So there's our happy birthday. Now normally I would have stamped this one out, but I've already done the stamping, and I'm going to unusually cut it out first before I colour it in. So that will go, where is my, there it is, looking for my washi tape. Now my washi tape is quite sticky, so I like to run it across my back of my hand, like so, and then that goes over the top, and that will keep that in place for me, she says. There we go. Keep that in place, and then I'll do the same on that one. Then I've got this one, and then I have this piece. So before that's going to go over there. So before I cut these out, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a bit of scoring, and you'll see why in a second. So let's put those over there. That's fine. Try that again. There we go. Right, so let's bring in our scoring. So we've got our two pieces. So the first thing we're going to score, I need this to be scored so I can put this piece on. So using the Mossy Meadow, I'm going to bring in my trimmer. I'm going to score this at 5.5, which is there. 5.5. Then I'm going to bring my arm out and score that at 6.5. Okay, and the 5.5 will give you the cut halfway through. Okay, so this is the second piece, which measures 3 3/4 by 8 3/4. What we're going to do is we're going to score this at 4.5. Okay, and I'm going to fold it in half, and you will find that there is a tiny bit that's here, and it's 1/8 of an inch, and you're just going to chop that off. I've done it this way because it just makes it so much easier for when you come to do the next piece. Right, so what you'll notice is a pointy bit here and a pointy bit here, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to run down the spine of the crease that you've just created. Now you're looking at probably 2/3 away from the bottom, top even. For this reason is so that if your flowers stand too proud, they're not going to show over. So there we go. So making sure that those pointy bits are level with the line you've just scored, and stick it down with your washi tape. In theory, that should all come out straight, unlike my piece of paper. Let's have a look. Let's do that again. Let's make sure I can think it straight. Yep, I'm happy with that. So now is the time for us to score. Okay, so I've cut this one. Peel it very gently, and you can see it gives you this point. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my bone folder in. I'm going to fold my card in half so that it is straight on the fold. And that's that one, and then that one, and then you can fold that one, turn it over and do exactly the same, and that will help you crease, and you've got your little pop out here. Okay, so that's the first one. I have cut out my two flowers. You'll see that one of them is cut slightly there, so don't worry. Now this is the interesting part. Let's cut this off, pull this away. They can go in the bin. Oh, all right, there. My pointy tool, and I can poke these out. Have you worked out what these are? Took me a while, but I got there. That's that one in there, and that's that one in there. Right, okay. I'll show you that in a second. What we're going to do now is a bit of colouring. Now, the stamp sets does come with stamping to be able to colour it, but I'm going to use my Wink of Stella, which I showed you how to do on Wednesday, but we're going to do it again here today. And the reason I cut out these images first by before colouring them is I didn't want them to get sticky as they were going through the cut and embossed. So you've got this tiny bit of glue here, which is glue, ink that's come through here. I'm going to pick it up with my Wink of Stella, and I'm going to bring this round, hopefully. Excuse me. There we go. I'm just going to colour it in. What I found is I can pick up one piece and I can colour the whole flower in. Okay, it's quite quick, and then it's quite easy. So that's the greenery on that one. Bring that round, do the same on here. There we go. I did contemplate colouring them all in first, but you know what? I decided otherwise. Okay, so to get this green off now, we just flick it back and forward on the paper and it comes clear. You know you have got the, it's clear and you can go on to the next colour. Now I've got the same here. I've got the Calypso Coral. So again, I'm going to pick up the Calypso Coral from this bit. And then I'm just going to colour in the middles of my flowers. I'm not going to worry about the petals. I'm going to say that the petals are white and it's the centre that has got this beautiful Calypso Coral in the middle. There we go, so that's that one over there with that long side to dry. Now once I've done this, we've got all the pieces, all the components together now to be able to create the actual funky fold. So obviously you can make the colour with this Wink of Stella as dark or as light as you wish it to be. I'm going to try and bring this up to the light and so you can see. Do that. There we are, it's clear. And see if we can get any of the sparkle to show through. It's a bit difficult, but we'll have a go. Can you see any of the sparkle? Oh, there you go. You can just about see the sparkle there. Perfect. Right, I'll leave those aside to dry. And then I can bring in the rest of the supplies. And we can create the card. So the first thing we're going to do is where you've got this extra score line, which is at the 6.5. I'm just going to burnish it. And then I'm going to put glue on this 1-inch section. She says, trying to get her glue out. Okay, so on one side, you're going to glue that down. Run your finger over it or push it down with the bone folder. Crease it. Then you're going to take your strip. Now this 3/4 inch strip is the same pattern as this one, but I wanted the green to come through so it's got a different texture. Look at this, it's been upside down and therefore it's decided it needs to spill. Well, I suppose it makes a difference for me trying to get out the glue and it never appears. Hey ho! Right, so let's pop that down. I'm not sure if you can hear my dog panting because she's in here as well. She's not been very well, so she's struggling with her. She's got a little bit of a heart murmur. So her breathing is a little bit difficult. Okay, so now I'm going to put the matte layer of 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. And as you can see, this glue really is having a mind of its own. It's going to tell me now it's not got any left. Isn't that just typical? Well, let's get the glue off of. There we go. Look, see, there is some left. It's lying to me. So I'm going to put that into there. Perfect. And then I'm going to add my layer. So grab my stamp and seal. This piece of the DSP is the 4 by 3 1/2. I'm just going to run. I'm going to try and run. There we go. Done. And that is virtually the outside apart from the sentiment. So now we're going to open this up and do all the hard work. So what I'm going to aim to do is glue one side, making sure I get round the area which is going to pop out. I'm going to stick that side down, make sure it is as straight as possible. Okay, now have I got this right? No, I haven't, because I want the bottom to be at the bottom. Does that make sense? I want the bottom to be at the bottom. Of course you want the bottom to be at the bottom, but I wanted that lower section to be lower down. So luckily I hadn't pressed it, so it's not going to be an issue, she says. So I'm going to line this up with this line here, making sure that it's straight. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the glue onto this section. And then bring it over and get that to meet up. But again, I want to make sure that it's going to be straight. It's gone a little wonky there. Look at how awry it's gone. Bizarre, isn't it? Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Let's just save it. Let's do. Right, fold that over. Slip it into the side, making sure that it's straight, which it is. And I'm going to bring that over. And hopefully that will be straight. Yay, look at that. See, it does work occasionally. Right, stack those over. Now, you've got this bit that's poking out. So, have you worked out what these two pieces are? These two pieces are the lip of the box. So you're going to put one piece glue on my fingers, so now it's just sticking. Just being naughty. So you've got like a score mark there, and you just fold it like so. So what I plan to do is just put the glue down one side. There we go. So just run that down there. Wrap it over, like you. Open the box up fully, and then just hold it for a couple of seconds so it stays in place. I find it works better. Well, it is the only way really to do, is to add the lip to the box before you add the flower, and then do the same again on this one. Okay, and that piece goes behind here, and you just fold it over again like you did with the other one, and hold it for a couple of seconds until it's firmly in place. So now you've gotten your lid to your box is now open. Okay, it's time to add your designer series paper. So let's see if I can work out which ones. I did have it. How bizarre. Anyway, I'm not going to focus on it. We're going to stick this bit down here like so. I'm going to add my stamp and seal with that. And we're going over here. 2 seconds. That's going to go over this way. And bear with me. Okay, my son's just crept out to go and rescue the dogs from barking. So there we go. That was going to go over there like that. And then you've got this piece, which is the white layer, which is 2 1/4 by 3 inches. That's going to sit on there by there. There we go. So that sticks on there. So the next thing to do would be to add our flowers. So I'm going to put glue on this section here. And I'm going to put the glue on the first one. So on the one that's nearest to the left hand side. I'm going to hold that. Make sure it sticks in place. Hold it for a couple of seconds. Then I'm going to bring this one in. Now this one is too big. So what you're going to do is you're going to chop it down a bit. So somewhere if I've got my scissors, there they are. I'm just going to chop it down like that, because what it will do is it will stick onto there, and it will hold the flower. So it looks like that. So let's put the glue on that now, and you can see exactly what I mean, and it just helps it to stick better. So that goes behind, hold it, and then your box will open up. So you've got your flowers like so. Okay. I don't know if you can see, but they are secure at the bottom. So you can now close this box up very carefully. There we go. And we can stick our sentiment together. So let's stick our sentiment together. There we go. Pop that onto there. Hold it into place. And then I'm going to add 4 dimensionals. Where did I put them? See if I'm left in my box. There we go. And I'm going to put one in each corner and one in the middle. There we go. Take off my pointy tool and then get the backing off. Well, I don't think I was too distracted by my live audience, hopefully. There we are. That's going to go onto there like so. So it's nice and straight, and then the box comes out, and then you can just tap that. If you need to, you can just, there, because you just need to make sure that your box folds over. But it's the back one that is going to be, just have little bits chomped out of it. Okay, so that is our funky fold for today. It is the card, it's the book fold, and there are our 2 cards. So thank you ever so much for me. That will lay fat once it's been sat on for a little while, once it's in the envelope. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. We'll be back on Monday with a new stamp set, so do join me then. I hope you liked these cards, and have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye.